Sarah Palin the other day was giving a speech, and she said that waterboarding is how we baptize terrorists in America. Stay classy there, Sarah. It's real great of you. And, of course, the reason is torture is hilarious, so we love making jokes about torture. And needless to say, this falls right in line with her Christian values. She's very Christian, so Jesus loved torture. Well, who's going to come to her defense? None other than another uber-Christian, Jesus lover Bryan Fischer.
This is Sarah Palin speaking at the NRA. She's gotten a lot of heat for this, but I just kind of love her spunk and love her spirit. You know, and I tweeted out a link to this little clip, and people accused me of supporting torture. Ladies and gentlemen, waterboarding is not torture. Waterboarding is not torture. You've heard that. You've been told that. But remember, when this first came to light, you had these college campuses all over America. People were doing these waterboarding demonstrations. They'd meet out in the plaza. They'd have a guy lay down on a board, and they'd waterboard. They'd put the towel over his face. They'd pour the water through the towel into his open mouth, and he'd cough, and he'd hack, and everybody would talk about how horrible this thing. That's not torture. I mean, it may not be pleasant. It may not be fun, but it's not torture. The guy's not going to die. The guy's not going to drown, and you know it. Otherwise, you wouldn't do it. I mean, if it was real torture, where you get pliers and pull a guy's fingernails out, or you take hook battery chargers up to a battery and stick them on exposed flesh, that's torture. You don't see him doing that on college campuses to demonstrate because that's genuine torture. Waterboarding is not. So I think she's just being cute there. We're a Christian nation. This is a ritual. It's important to us. We know you don't. So I was just having a little bit of fun with it, supporting waterboarding. And she's been accused of being, I don't know, a heretic or flippant or whatever. I think she's being clever and funny myself, and maybe people ought to just kind of lighten up just a little bit.
Lighten up! Just lighten up about it. Whatever, it's waterboarding. Big deal. I do it on a Saturday with my buddies when we're having a barbecue in the back. All right, Human Rights Watch, first line describing waterboarding. And also, if you type it into Google, Wikipedia, first link, click that. You can read it there, too. First line, Human Rights Watch, quote, waterboarding is a form of torture, end quote. But no, believe Bryan Fischer over Human Rights Watch. Furthermore, Christopher Hitchens, of course, back when he was alive and writing for Vanity Fair, he was agnostic on the issue of waterboarding. He said, look, man, is it torture? Is it not torture? I don't know. People are saying all these different things. So what did he do? He decided, like a real journalist, like a real reporter, he said, fuck it, I'll undergo it, and then I'll tell you what happened and what it felt like and what it is. He famously said afterwards, quote, well then, if waterboarding does not constitute torture, then there is no such thing as torture. Yeah, exactly right. And to go even further than that, you have to understand, we lifted our enhanced interrogation techniques from a communist Chinese manual on how to torture. I remember it was one of the first stories I covered when SecularTalk started up, because I was amazed by it. I'm like, whoa, we took it from a literal Chinese communist manual, how to torture. That's where we got our methods from. And then we argue, no, it's not torture, it's enhanced interrogation. I mean, hello, Orwell, how you doing? Change the terms and just make it sound flowery for the disgusting thing that it actually is. And always remember this. This is the biggest point when talking about the issue of waterboarding. We gave Japanese soldiers the death penalty for waterboarding our guys. So when other people do it, it's torture, and we're going to put you to death. When we do it, no, it's not even torture. It's not even a crime. No. It's lovely. It's just enhanced interrogation. What are you talking about? And by the way, it doesn't work. It never worked. That's why they had to waterboard Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, 183 times before he said anything. And when he did say something, it didn't even turn out to be right. They're obviously just trying to get the answers that they want. They were looking for some sort of cover to say, see, we got to go into Iraq. They told us to do it after we waterboarded them 19 trillion times. So there's no evidence it ever works. You know why? People will say anything just to get you to fucking stop, because you're torturing them. That's obvious. But, I mean, the bigger point to make about this, putting aside the waterboarding talk, dude, you're a Christian. Really? What are you doing? I mean, conservative Christians are an anomaly in and of themselves enough. The idea that somebody could say, I love the biggest fucking hippie guy imaginable. The furthest left-wing dude who makes Karl Marx look like he's Ann Coulter. You know, he wore dresses, had his facial hair and his long hair. He had 12 dudes follow him all day long. Not saying that guy is gay, but let's just say he's not the most manly of men. But this guy, Mr. Uber Liberal, sell all your stuff and follow me and let's go help the poor, right? Rich can't get into heaven. That guy, the guy who's all about peace and love, the guy who said turn the other cheek. You know what that means? You hit me on one side of the face, I'll show you the other side. Here, hit that side too, big guy. Go ahead, go for it. That's the guy who's going to say, no, we like waterboarding. You know, Bryan, man, you can do one of two things. You can continue to call yourself a Christian and actually, I don't know, give a shit about the things Christianity calls for and Jesus calls for. Or you could just admit that you're not a fucking Christian and that you're this gross, pathetic excuse for a human being that's filled with hate and bigotry and violence and all this terrible stuff, and just say, I'm not a Christian anymore. Pick one of the two, because as it stands right now, you're doing nothing but embarrassing yourself, man.